this is a sort of diagram representation of the 5 levels of awareness. So we start off on the left over here with the unaware stage. So at this point, the client doesn't even know necessarily that they have a problem that they need solving. They're quite merrily going about their day-to-day, and it may be that the thing that is happening in their lives they're currently unaware of, or currently unaware is something that they need to sort out. So what happens then is something changes. Now that something is a trigger point generally out of your control, but at some point people start to associate a feeling or an action or a thought or a belief in their life, and they think, do you know what, I need to do something about this. This is a frustration, this is something I want to change. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. We need to use a word, and the English language doesn't give us many, but the one word it does is problem is quite good. The other thing you can swap that out for is also opportunity. It's essentially someone suddenly becomes aware that they can do something, or they want to do something, and at that point we're at a point where that person is now starting a journey of wanting to solve that situation. So they then will go and investigate more about the problem or opportunity that they feel they have, and at that point they will not necessarily be looking for an answer to it, but they just want to confirm that they are right in their thinking, that when they think they have a problem, they think they have something like that they want to deal with, that is actually correct. Now at the next stage they then move up to this solution aware, and this is where they decide that they actually want to do something about it. So they're looking for a solution. So in coaching terms, this is where someone decides that they actually want to engage with someone and they want to do something about the situation they've got. They don't necessarily know that coaching is the solution, but at this point they may find that coaching is a really good solution, a really good fit for them. So once they know that there is a solution out there, they'll then go looking for a product that fits that solution. So if they've decided in Solution Aware that a video course is going to be the thing for them, then they will go and look for a product that is a video course. If, however, in their decision of finding what they think the solution looks like, they've identified coaching as being the thing they need, they will go and look for a coaching product. So when they're in that product aware stage, they're kind of at a point where they're like, right, okay, now what I need to do is decide on the product I want, and once they make that decision, they're then at most aware, and that is where they know they've got a problem, they know what the solution looks like, they know what your product is, all they need to know is when can you start. So that's the journey we're taking people on, and when you are sort of selling what you're doing or trying to communicate what you do, it's really tempting to try and get people from unaware to product aware or most aware in one jump. And that's what I said at the beginning, when you may have designed a product that is what clients need. So you know from your knowledge that that's what they need to do. But because the client doesn't even know they've got a problem and they don't know what the solution looks like, telling someone what they need just isn't going to work. So at that point it becomes I'm just going to stop sharing the screen. At that point there's no, it's a really hard work to try and drag people up that process with sales. And it just feels awkward. And it's why so many coaches get to this point of saying like, I don't really enjoy sales and I don't really enjoy marketing. And it's because they're dragging people up that process and eventually convincing them to buy the product. The client will eventually relent and go, okay, I'll buy this. Conversely, if the client comes to you saying, do you know what, I've read your blog on the problem and I just thought, wow, that's me. I've got that exact problem. I read your webpage on your method, and actually, do you know what, that really spoke to me because I can see the 5 steps you work through, and that actually looks like the 5 things that I really want to do about this. And then I saw I could buy a series of sessions with you to work through that method. That's brilliant. When can we start? And it's a totally different conversation. It's a different energy. It's a different approach. So that is what we mean when we say designing a client journey. It's how do you take that customer from there to there without it feeling like a big jump.
I think the questions that often come up around this kind of stuff are what are the tangible things that I can do, bearing in mind that there's many people potentially on LinkedIn that I might be speaking through to with one blog post or with one post on LinkedIn, for example. How can I possibly cater for everyone if everyone's at different stages? So there's different things, there's different flavours of the different types of marketing that you can do. There's your social media marketing, which might have a particular flavour that speaks to one stage, you might argue, where once someone's then signed up to your newsletter, it could be a slightly different flavour. The kind of questions that you might ask someone in a direct message might speak to a different flavour, and a in-person 30-minute sort of get to know each other call might have yet another flavour. And just being mindful of what the emotional state at the various points at those 5 stages of awareness can really help you to think about where and what are you going to be saying. If you're at the point of gathering a community, as it were, of your ideal clients, the last thing you're going to want to do, as Simon has said, is to kind of put them off with too much sales chat, because what you're initially trying to do is get a bunch of people who might be completely unaware to understand that if they follow you, it might be interesting for them, and that might even be a little bit of humour. It might be some interesting content which relates to what they do, and you are another person that they don't mind having in their tribe. It might take some time building that community and sort of getting yourself out there for people to appreciate not only that listening to you and reading what you put out there is of merit to them on a daily basis, but that you have this other kind of added value, which is your coaching. And going in there too early with I am a coach for footballers who have retired might be too much, for the unaware. Particularly given the level of kind of subconscious sort of emotional stuff that might come up in relation to those different stages. So the first really important piece of work, once you've identified, and assuming you have identified your ideal client, is to imagine what is their emotional state for each of those stages, and sort of how would it be responsible for you to frame the content that you're putting out there in response to the state that they're in at those different stages, I would say.